How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Smoke Sermon Barbecue. I'm Mike Conway, and today we are gonna do big old bad boy 22, just over 22 pound brisket before our trim. We got our Lone Star Grillz pellet smoker fired up. We're just waiting for it to get to temp right now. We're actually gonna do this one a little bit different than I typically do. I'm gonna run this pit low and slow at 180 degrees for the first couple hours, bump it to 200 for the next couple hours, bump it to 225 for the next hour, maybe 2 hours. Just depends once we get over the 140 mark. And the other thing we're gonna do that's a little bit different too is my brisket is still in the refrigerator. I seasoned it, trimmed it last night, put it in the refrigerator, and it is still super cold. And I'm not bringing it out and letting it sit at room temperature before it goes on. I'm taking it straight out of the fridge and gonna drop it in this pit, and we're gonna rock and roll from there. I've watched some videos and heard some things about putting your brisket on really helps to find that smoke ring. And I know what you're thinking, smoke ring doesn't matter, and I totally agree, it doesn't, but it looks cool. And I just want to see if I can get a really solid, defined, bright smoke ring by doing this method, and then just kind of doing the cold smoke method where we start super low, get tons of smoke on it, because most of that smoke penetrates the meat before it hits 140 degrees internal. So we want to hit it with as much of that smoke bath as we can. Before then, once we get above 140, we'll go ahead and crank that temperature up to 250, maybe even 275. But this is going to be a long cook. It's a 22 pound brisket. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably still probably 17, maybe close to 18 pounds after the trim. I do kind of an aggressive trim because I save the meat for hamburger grind and other things like that. And we'll be putting the brisket fat on here as well to render that tallow out, which we'll use in our wrap when that comes time. So watch us, stay tuned, check out this brisket. It's a big one, it's gonna go long. I got a dinner tomorrow night that I'm smoking this for around 4 or 5 o'clock. It's only 1:30 here right now, so it is definitely gonna be a long brisket when she comes out. We'll let her rest until it's time to slice and eat. So let's see what happens with this brisket, and thanks for watching. All right. We got ourselves this big, beautiful 22 pound Packer brisket picked up from Sam's Club. This is just a choice brisket, nothing's too special. We're excited to get this thing cooking. Something super special is I have a bummed arm from rotator cuff surgery and I cannot trim briskets right now. My wife stepped up, never trimmed a brisket before. She tackled this like an absolute beast and did a phenomenal job with this brisket trim. So we're gonna carefully get this set in here. We are going fat side down, meat side up. I know some of you guys are already thinking, why on earth would you go meat side up? Well, I do both ways. I like it both ways, but on this one I am specifically going for, or trying to go for, really good smoke ring, just for visual appeal, and also heat's coming up from the bottom. Actually, we're gonna put this probe, which is our Firebird probe, in a good thick spot at the point, but we're also using our RFX wireless meat probe. These things are incredible, I love them. So I'm gonna put this in the thick part of the flat right here where they meet. Go right here, and then good, like that. She's on. Time for her smoke bath. So let's go ahead and get her closed up. Let her get to rest. All right, so we got our brisket on, Lone Star Grillz pellet smoker. We're doing something a little different. This is a new grill to me. I've only cooked on it and smoked on it a couple times. First time doing a brisket. I was watching a video of the owner of Lone Star Grillz from a few years ago, and I really don't have any idea what this Firebird controller really is capable of or can do. And I was watching this video, and I noticed that he set this cook up. It was like a 20-hour cook on a brisket, and he programmed the Firebird to just do certain things at certain stages of the cook. And I thought, that's freaking killer. I gotta figure that out. So I hopped into my app, checked it out. It's actually super simple to do. You just create steps under the programming, and then it follows the steps that you tell it to do. So what we've actually done is we've set this grill up to smoke low at 180 degrees for 2 hours. Automatically at 2 hours, this pit's gonna bump up to 200 degrees. It's gonna go for another 2 hours at 200 degrees. Once that time is up, it's gonna bump up to 225 for 1 more hour. So I got good smoke penetration information on this for the first 5 hours of this cook. Once the pit recognizes with the probe that I just put in that the brisket is 145 degrees internal, it will automatically bump the temperature up 250 degrees and let that go until the internal temp hits 175. Once it hits 175, again, it's going to bump the pit up to 275 degrees, and it's going to run that way until it hits 200. Now, if for some reason I'm not home or can't monitor and it hits that 200 degrees, I program the pit to automatically go down to 160 degrees at that time and hold there until I take it off. In which case, when I do, if I'm here when it hits that 200, I'll check it, make sure it's probe tender, let it go if it needs to. But if for some reason I'm not home, I know this pit's not going to let this thing overcook. It's going to drop the temp down to 160 degrees, and it's going to hold it there till I do get home, so I can go ahead and get it put into a cooler or into my warmer oven or whatever I need to do at that time. So super cool features on this grill that I just learned how to use. I'm excited to see how it turns out. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a look at this brisket now. It's been on for right at about 2.5 hours. Like I said before, I programmed the fireboard controller to run 180 degrees for the first 2 hours, and then it automatically bumped up to 200 degrees after that point, which it will go for 2 hours at 200 degrees, and we're about 30 minutes into that. But we're going to take a look, just a quick little peek, and I actually want to adjust my RFX probe temp real quick. I am just curious what the difference in temp is between the top rack and the bottom rack. So we're gonna go ahead and just let this keep going. It's looking pretty good. Might do a little spritz on the next check when we take a look at it, but right now we're just gonna leave it. We got a bunch of tallow rendering here that came off of this 22 pounder, but for now we're gonna close this up and continue to let it go on that smoke bath. All right, here we are right at the 6 hour mark. Our brisket has been on and going for a full 6 hours. Again, first 2 hours, 180, and then 2 hours at 200. Then it went up to 225 where it's been for the last 2 hours. It'll stay at 225 degrees until it hits an internal temp of about 145, in which case it'll automatically bump up to 250 degrees. And then we'll just continue to watch this cook. But right now, what we're gonna do is open this lid, check out this brisket, see how it's looking at the 6 hour mark, and more than likely give it a little spritz with apple cider vinegar and some water mixture just to moisten it up just a little bit, keep it from drying out since this is a very low and slow cook, and also just help a little bit with that bark formation as well. So let's take a look at the brisket and see. All right, we still got some good smoke coming through right now. Bark is definitely starting to darken up. Grab a heat glove here so I can pull this rack out. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Not too bad for such a low cook. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a spritz. Not too much, just enough. Keep that bark from drying out. Smells good too. Still amazed at the amount of smoke that comes off of this pit. I am running, just in case anybody's wondering, I am running a 50-50 blend of just Sam's Club pellets, which I use in all of my pellet smokers, and I've had great luck with them. They're super cheap, no issues whatsoever. But I'm also running 50% wood chips that are directly from Lone Star Grillz, so they are cut to the perfect size that they recommend. And they say you can run up to 50% pellets and 50% wood chips through this pit, which is exactly what I'm doing right now, which is one of the reasons I absolutely love this pit, because it definitely, I mean, you can see it right now, puts out an amazing amount of smoke, good, clean, blue smoke compared to any other pellet smoker I've ever smoked on. And I have a lot of smokers. I have pellet smokers, I have drum smokers, I have an offset smoker, 120 gallon offset smoker, and obviously I love my drums, I love my offset, but when it comes to convenience, this pellet smoker is hands down just amazing. We'll check back on this in a couple more hours and see how that bark's looking. All right, it is now 10:30. This brisket's been on for right at 9.5 hours. Internal temp is 144, so it is just about to hit the 145 mark, where this pit is going to automatically bump that temp from 225 up to 250 degrees, get us up to that stall and push us through. We're going to take a look at the brisket, see what it looks like. We haven't checked it in a few hours. If it looks like it needs a spritz, we'll give it one more spritz, and then we'll get her shut down and let her keep going. So let's take a look at this brisket and see how she's doing. Still got a ton of smoke rolling. It's actually looking really good. Let's give her a little bit of a spritz. All right, guys, we are back. It is the next morning, and it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. It's been on for a solid 20 hours. This brisket's been going. We're gonna go ahead and check it out now. The fireboard probe shows the internal temp in the point is right at about 198, 199, and the flat is running right at about 181. So we're gonna double check the bark, make sure we're happy with it. Then we're gonna pull it, get it wrapped up, and get it back on the pit so she can finish, so we can get it ready for her rest just here in a little bit. We're going to double check, of course, our temps with our thermopin from ThermoWorks just to make sure everything's looking good. But first and foremost, what I'm looking for here is to make sure that bark is set. It's dark. It's exactly the way we want it. So let's go ahead and check it out. All right, so we haven't opened this lid at all since last night at about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. So let's get her opened up, take a look, and see how she looks. There she is in all of her glory. Not bad. A little darker over here on the point side and the flat side. Not looking too bad. Considering the flat is now at 180 degrees, the point's about 198, 189. I think we're just going to go ahead and get her wrapped up and ready to go back on so she can get finished. All right, so what I have here is just a little bit of a brisket mop that I made and put together. I have a pan underneath here just so this doesn't run everywhere. So a little bit of this brisket mop down. It's just a can of beef consomme, a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, smoked paprika, pepper, onion, garlic, just some different seasonings and things like that. A little apple cider vinegar, just to add a little bit of moisture and a little bit of flavor into that wrap. Get our brisket, set it on, and then we're actually gonna top it with some tallow. All right. Definitely a big girl. Actually started to rip a little bit right there on the point side. It's looking pretty good. There was just a little bit of this liquid gold. Now that we got her back in, let's go ahead and get this probe back in the flat. We can monitor that. RFX probe. Back to the point. Get her straight back down. All right, so we got our briskets wrapped in foil. We used a little bit of a brisket mop that I made inside that foil wrap. We used stone beef tallow on top of it, wrapped it up nice and tight, got it back in, got the probes plugged back in, and now we just sit and wait until those things get really, really probe tender. Specifically looking for that flat to be probe tender because that point is already buttered. So we'll go ahead and just monitor this. We're probably looking at another couple hours before she's finished up. We'll pull it up somewhere. My guess is, because this is such a long cook, I think it's gonna come off around the 195 to 196 range for the flat, but who knows? We'll see what it is when that time comes. Then we'll get it for a rest. It's about 9:30 right now, so we're almost at 21 hours total for this brisket so far. This might end up being a full 24-hour brisket. Guess we'll find out. All right, guys, we got that brisket finished up on the pit. We got the pit cooling down now. As soon as that's done cooling down, I get to work on cleaning it all up before I put it away. It's kind of a rainy day here today with some overcast, so I might wait till tomorrow to put it away. But we got it all wrapped up and resting in the cooler. Next thing we need to do is get it opened up when it comes time to eat here in a few hours. Get it sliced into, see how we did. All right, we got this brisket cook all finished up, and we served it last night for dinner with some friends and family that were in town, and everybody loved it. It sliced extremely well. It was juicy, it was tender, it was flavorful. Was not a disappointment whatsoever. It was great. So just as a recap, what we did on this brisket, we started out with a 22-pound Packer brisket I picked up from Costco, just a choice brisket, nothing crazy, nothing special. We got it trimmed up, somewhat of an aggressive trim, make it nice and easy, even. Got it seasoned with 16 mesh black pepper and some Lowry seasoned salt. That's not my typical seasoning base, but I wanted to give it a shot. Turned out really well and everybody liked it, so no disappointments with the seasoning choices. Then we got it on the pit. This thing went for 22 hours on the pit. We started out for the first couple hours at 180 degrees to just hit it with some smoke, bumped it up for the next couple hours at 200 degrees. Then we bumped it up to 225 where we let it go until the internal temp of the brisket hit 145. Then we bumped it to 250 degrees on the pit until that internal temp hit 175. The bark wasn't exactly where I wanted it at that point, so I just let it ride from there. And about 180 to 182, I'd say, in the point, we went ahead and wrapped it. We wrapped it with a little bit of a brisket mop that I made and topped it with its own beef tallow, wrapped it nice and tight in foil, put it back on the pit, went for a few more hours, ended up holding it, and the point was about 206, 207, and the flat was about 202. It was very tender in the flat. Of course, it was super tender in the point as well. We let it rest in a cooler for about 4.5 hours. When I pulled it out of the cooler, the temp of the brisket was still at about 148 degrees, 149 degrees. So it turned out perfect. We sliced it up, we served it, and like I said before, everybody enjoyed it and loved it. So this was definitely a win for a brisket for us. And 22 hours, 22-pound brisket. Can't wait to do the next one. My LSG, Lone Star Grillz pellet smoker over here, did a bang-up job. It's an awesome pit. I got her all covered up and ready for a rest for a little bit. But I think the next video is coming up here real. Stay tuned. And if you like this, don't forget to like, share, and of course, ring that bell and subscribe. Thanks a lot. Bye.